Hello and welcome to this panel discussion on the benefits of minority and women-owned certifications. My name is Taylor-Leonard and I'm the CEO of Taylor-Leonard Corporation, and I have the pleasure of being the moderator for this panel. Joining me is a distinguished panel of guests, and so I'd like to kick off this discussion by simply introducing them to you briefly. First, we have Natalia Olson. Natalia is the Regional Administrator for the U.S. Small Business Administration, Mid-Atlantic, where she's responsible for delivery and management of SBA's small business programs, financial assistance, and business development program initiatives throughout the region. She serves a population of nearly 29.5 million through SBA's districts in Pennsylvania, Delaware, Maryland, Virginia, West Virginia, and Washington, D.C., working cooperatively with lenders and firms across the region and overseeing more than $34.2 billion in federal government contracts with entrepreneurs. Her background includes successful entrepreneur endeavors and a career of public service to include serving at the U.S. Department of State and the Delaware Valley Regional Planning Commission. Natalia received the Business Journal 2010 Minority Business Leader Award, and in 2009 received the Women of Distinction Award for her work toward building a green economy. Next to Natalia is LaKeshia Grant. LaKeshia is the CEO of Virtual Enterprise Architects, an award-winning and nationally recognized 8A small disadvantaged woman and minority-owned hub zone information technology company with expertise in delivering high-quality enterprise architecture and IT-related services to public and private clients. In 2013, her company was listed as the fastest-growing IT services company in DC by Inc. magazine, Industry Solution Provider of the Year by GovTech, and nominated as an Emerging Technology Implementer of the Year by Smart CEO magazine in 2013 and 14. More recently, LaKeshia was awarded SBA's 2014 Small Business Person of the Year in DC. Next to LaKeshia is Daniel. Daniel Parra is Executive Director for Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, Montgomery County. A Colombian economist and business owner, Daniel immigrated to the U.S. in 1999, has played different roles in the business community with an emphasis in the nonprofit sector in organizations like the Spanish Catholic Center, Latino Economic Development Corporation, and Hispanic Committee of Virginia. Daniel's core expertise are business strategy, planning, procurement, small business and economic development, workforce development, and program management. Welcome. Thank you all for joining us. So I'm going to kick off our session with a question to Natalia. We all hear as small business owners about these different certifications that are offered through SBA and other government organizations. And so I would love for you to sort of share with us the myriad of the different certification programs that small business professionals should actively consider and why we should consider them.
Sure. Just to get started, the SBA, we have several programs. We do not certify companies to be minority or women-owned, but what we do is actually we certify them for the 8A program, which is our federal contracting program, where we make sure that small businesses have that 23% of government contracting. When the Jobs Act was passed in 2010, it increased the amount of federal contracting that had to go to small businesses. And within that, there's a 5% set aside for women-owned businesses as well. So under the 8A program, we make sure that we certify that you are a disadvantaged, minority-owned company, and we make sure that you are, for example, for women, especially because of women businesses like myself and LaKeshia, we make sure that that is true, that it is run by a woman. Over 50% of that company is owned by a woman. What we also do is we make sure that the Mentor Project program, where the large corporate, large businesses that have government contracts, within their team, they had to have a percentage of their team has to be a small business. And within that, also we encourage for them to partner with minority and women-owned companies as well. If you're interested in certification, I recommend contacting the National Minority Supplier Development Council, which actually provides a direct link between corporate America and minority-owned businesses, and was created specifically to increase procurement and business opportunity for minority businesses of all sizes.
Okay. Awesome. So, LaKeshia, I know you've got all the certification. You are a walking certification.
Right.
And so I would love for if you could perhaps touch on that same question in terms of the various certifications that are out there, the benefits of why we as small business owners should consider those certifications.
Well, as you mentioned, I'm pretty much a hodgepodge of almost every certification next to Service Disabled Vet, in which I'm marrying one, and also the Native American Pacific Islander certifications, which I'm close to it with my hair, so I may be able to squeeze that one in next, who knows. But with those certifications, I have been able to significantly grow my company. And that's largely due to the set-asides in which, once you're certified, you're able to compete in a smaller realm or within a smaller realm of competitors by having the certifications. With those set-asides, especially as an 8A, you're able to hopefully, in some cases, you're able to become sole source or have a sole source contract vehicle if your particular services are extremely specialized, and there are not a lot of other competitors in that particular field and or service offering area. In addition to that, in addition to the set-asides, which dramatically helped us to grow as a result of being able to compete within a smaller pool of competitors, I would have to say the specialized industry days are really another advantage, in which if you're a hub zone, as an example, there are hub zone industry days in which you're meeting face to face with various government buyers, and you're able to give them pretty much an overview of your service offerings and what makes you different from the other competitors. Because again, it's smaller and it's a smaller pool to draw from. Those buyers, at that industry day, they get a chance to really get to know you and your firm. And so I highly advise you to, once you get the certification, participate in those industry days. In addition to that too, you also become a part of a network of other similar certified groups. For example, if you are Hub Zone like myself, you can join the Hub Zone Council, and you'll get a chance to meet and network with other hub zones. And that really presents an opportunity for you to go after hub zone set-asides in which you may not necessarily have all of the qualifications, but some of them. And you may have a partner who's a part of the council who you can reach out to, and maybe they can take on the prime position in order to effectively compete for that particular opportunity. So there's a lot of benefits, and like I said, I'm pretty much a testimony to the growth that you can experience with those certifications, but the most important thing is to start and to look into those certifications that apply to your business.
So now, LaKeshia, you mentioned hub zone a lot, and so for someone who's maybe not familiar with exactly what that means, because 8A, it seems like it's been around for such a long time that people sort of know what that means. What exactly does it mean to be hub zone certified?
Well, technically, hub zone is historically underutilized business zones, in which you are taking 35% of your personnel count, or you're hiring 35% from those underutilized areas or business zones, and your company has to be located or headquartered within a hub zone. For me, the benefits are wonderful because you're able to give back to communities that may not necessarily have the support from the business community. You're able to employ and give jobs to those who may not necessarily would get a second look or first look, and you're able to really help the economy overall. I always say that the Hub Zone program is the best kept secret within all of the certifications. There are a lot of 8As, however, there's an exclusive group once you become Hub Zoned, in which everyone's always looking towards the 8As, but there's also opportunities to get Hub Zone set-asides. And like I said, there's an even smaller pool to compete with once you're HubZone certified. So I'm a big advocate of the program. One of our largest, contracts is a HubZone set aside, and we wouldn't have been able to have that contract if it wasn't for the program.
So then, like we know about companies graduating, if you will, from 8A, is there a same sort of graduation from HubZone?
Well, I wouldn't say graduation. It's more or less a recertification in which every 2 years your numbers are reviewed by someone at SBA, and they verify that you have you meet that 35% criteria. And so it's always a constant reminder for us, even in our hiring and in our job fairs and so forth, to make sure that we're reaching the underserved and underutilized communities to ensure that we have adequate candidates to continue to develop them that are currently within our company, as well as to have other friends of employees and so forth apply, so that way they can come work for us. You don't necessarily graduate. However, again, you have to make sure that you're constantly meeting that 35% in order to continue in the program.
Gotcha. Now, Daniel, just to turn the floor over to you a bit, because of course in your capacity as Executive Director for the Hispanic Chamber for Montgomery County, I'm sure you help a lot of your organizations, your members, if you will, to get some of these certifications. Can you touch on sort of your experience around specifically MBE, DBE certifications? Provide us, first of all, what do those letters mean? And then, what are the advantages of getting those certifications?
Yes, Kelly. In the Chamber, we are providing one-on-one technical assistance, and we are providing networking opportunities. So what LaKeshia said about the way to network with people in the same stage, in the same field, is great opportunity for everyone. The other MBE, you asked, is Minority Business Enterprise, and DBE is Disadvantaged Business Enterprise. So those categories are actually, besides 8A, the most common certifications in general in the United States, but in the area as well. So Minority Business Certification will allow those with, we have to start defining who is minority. African Americans, Native Americans, Hispanic Americans, and many others like the Asian Americans as well, and women. And we have within those programs some requirements that allow the companies to move. I think that is the most important part for the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, is to move your business from one stage to the next one. And I think and firmly believe as part of the Chamber that opportunity is coming just because of that certification, because it allows you to confront yourself. One thing is willingness to have those contracts with government, and another different is to see yourself in a mirror as a business and say, yes, I am ready. So that is what we help with. I'm economist, as Kelly mentioned, and I have a lot of numbers here, but to put it in the right place, it is more about you, your business, getting ready to do business in a different level. So MBE and DBE, actually you can apply for both at once, and that is called the Uniform Certification Application. Actually, we encourage to do that, because having both certifications will allow you to network with different fields and different environments as well. So pretty much that is the two certifications. We don't do many with 8A. SBA is great with that. It's a lot of documentation. I have a long 2-page list of documents, but that is so easy. What I can say from the Chamber point of view is that it's so easy to apply. It's a lengthy process because of the amounts of documents. I'm sorry, but
we're trying.
But it's worth it, and on the second hand, it's not so difficult.
Wonderful. And so, because we often hear about these certifications and the fact that, if you're doing business with the government, are there also advantages to having these certifications if your focus is primarily private sector as opposed to government?
Well, I think there is some advantages because there are special rules for those certified. Definitely, that makes a difference. But we had a panel on Friday with Montgomery County, and we had the Department of Economic Development and the Department of the Procurement Office of Montgomery County, and they say you as a small business owner could have business with the county without certification, which is great as well. It is just that you put your business at a different level. So, but your entry level could be without certification. Why not?
Gotcha. LaKeshia, were you going to say something about that?
Well, you know, my company's mostly based and centered around the federal government business, so we haven't really taken advantage of that certification. We were previously certified as an MBE, and actually I think we still are. However, again, it's all about marketing and how you market your certification, and because a large portion of our business, almost all of our business, is with the federal government, I haven't been able to effectively utilize it. So I'm sort of a case scenario in a sense, you know, for the private side as far as the MBE, you know, certification and how you really have to effectively market those certifications if you're going to take advantage of them.
If I may, when I was a business owner, I did not have any government contracts. So I actually did do the minority MBE certification because actually I thought that, and it helped me a lot because I was also a clean technology commercialization person, an energy person. So companies would actually approach me, talk about teaming, and not necessarily for government contracting, but teaming because they wanted to have a team that it was, you know, Latina, women-owned energy person, green, and I was a minority-owned company, so that I used it as marketing as well. So I encourage that as a way to promote yourself.
Okay. And so Daniel had mentioned the paperwork. He did that and then raised it up a little. And so you always hear about consultants that will market and promote and sell that, oh, I'll help you to complete the certification process, whether it be 8A or MBE or whatever the case may be. What are you all, each of your personal thoughts in terms of, is it something that a business owner should just take the onus on themselves because they can do it, you can do it? Or is it the type of thing, well, you know what, you need to leave this to someone who's familiar and has the relationships and so forth? What are your thoughts there?
Let me start saying, if you don't mind, that you can do it, but we encourage not to do it by yourselves. That is one type of business owners that we work with. But we have the other type of business owners as well that is going to hire someone, do that and let me know when it's finished. That doesn't work either. So we encourage in the chamber to be side by side, even with the consultant or with one organization like the Chamber of SBA, to go step by step. That is nurturing your business in the knowledge of your own business, your challenges, your skills, and get prepared. Preparedness is so important during the process, and you don't gain that process, you don't gain that part in the process if you are involved in that cloud of documents and do not know what to do when. And you cannot get involved in that part of the process either if you are just sending a check and receiving a certification by mail. So our encouragement is to get involved actively in the process, because honestly, it's not get the certification the key. The key is, and you already mentioned that, is to market it correctly and get ready during the process with your numbers, with your, again, your weaknesses and your skills and your strengths to move really the business to the next stage.
Well, I agree with Daniel for the most part. However, I really believe that not only do you have to do it yourself, along with help, but I think you have to sort of evaluate your strengths. For example, most business owners, I would say most, the ones that I have encountered, have difficulty with the financials. And most certifications require the financials. And so as a business owner, I would highly advise, if you don't already have one, and have an accountant, in which they should be the ones who are producing those financial statements if you're not comfortable with the financials and so forth, and work in collaboration with your accountant to produce the financials to submit for those certifications. Again, in addition to that, if you have general questions about the overall certification documentation, the forms, and so forth, definitely seek help. Rely upon all of the free resources through, the PTACs and also SBA, also the Chamber, and there's a variety of free resources that can help walk you through how to complete the certification forms. But no one knows your business better than you. So all of the functions, all of the operational things, you're the only person that can do that and know about it. And so even if you hired a consultant, guess what? You're going to be spending a whole lot of time providing the same documentation that you would provide for the certification to that consultant. So save yourself the time and the money by just doing it yourself, and investing the time in yourself and your business by doing it along with your accountant. So like I said, your accountant, I would say, is a very, very important resource. If you don't have an accountant, please go to those other resources that I mentioned to help you with the financials, because they also can assist, specifically SBA Score, because they have seasoned veterans within accounting and finance and so forth to help you with those financial statements.
And we do have, we have the SCORE chapters, we have the Small Business Development Centers, we have the Women Business Centers. We just opened a new one here recently. And they can provide you. We have workshops at SBA, constantly. We have webinars. So there's a lot of free resources out there. So we encourage for you to take care of that yourself.
Okay, gotcha.
LaKeshia brought something very important to the table about financials. And this is personal and professional. It has to do with, I cannot understand how you could move to a certification if you don't have financials, or if you do not understand your financials. That is the connection with the accountant that will allow you to know that. I certainly encourage people not to do this at the entry level of, I have my company registered 5 days ago. No, it is not going to work. And as you said, LaKeshia, you know your company better than anyone else, so you know when you are ready to move to those type of certifications.
Kelly, can I add one more thing?
Yeah, absolutely.
Since you just touched on that, one of my tips is normally to start as soon as possible with respect to the certifications, meaning 2 years within your business.
Absolutely.
Because it's easier to start the certification when you have very small financials, hopefully a smaller staff if you have explosive growth over the 2 years. But it's easier to produce that documentation early on as opposed to waiting to 5 and plus years later when it's a little bit more intensive as far as pulling together those financials and explanations and so forth.
Small businesses often need capital to get started, and the U.S. Small Business Administration can be a valuable resource. The SBA does not make direct loans to consumers, but it will guarantee loans that small businesses take out from financial institutions. An SBA guarantee can convince a financial institution to lend to you because the bank can be confident that it can recover its money from the U.S. government if you default on your obligations. In order to qualify for an SBA guaranteed loan, you should be prepared to share a business profile, loan request, collateral, and business and personal financial statements with your lender. The more complete this information is, the more likely you are to get the loan. It is difficult to start a new small business or to keep a small business going in an economy filled with superstores. The loan programs created and implemented by the SBA are designed to help small businesses compete in today's marketplace and can be an important source of funding for small businesses.
Now, LaKeshia, you mentioned one of your tips. So that would lead me to wonder, are there more tips that you may have that you'd like to share in terms of just this world of certification?
Yeah, sure. Well, the first one, of course, as I mentioned, was getting your certifications early on. As a matter of fact, I think one of the advantages for my company was early on within those 2 years, our company was in a hub zone location. However, at that time, it was only 2 of us. And my first hire was someone who lived in a hub zone. And so with us, the two of us, I was technically at the 50%. So it made life a lot easier for me to get that certification early on, because it was just one person I had to, provide the documentation for and so forth. So you have to be very strategic, with, how you're going to approach those different certifications. And that was one where I have to pat myself on the back, because that was the smartest thing I could have ever done for my business, which was to embark upon that certification early on, and then keep those numbers as a result of that, from year to year. The other tip is keeping good records. We are no longer in the age of the shoebox records. So if you haven't automated what you're doing immediately, I would highly advise that. And when we talk about financials, because most of us struggle with financials, I highly advise an app, which is a personal app called Mint, M-I-N-T. Yeah. Most people use it for their personal finances. I use it for my business, so I don't have to reach out to my accountant at any given day and find out where I am financially with the company. I can see in a nice little pie chart. I get alerts when I'm approaching my budgets and so forth, and it helps me to stay on top of my financials. So please utilize as much technology as you can to keep good records. The other tip that I like to really talk about is partnerships. Although you may not have a particular certification, you can always partner with someone who does. And that can be in the form of a joint venture, that can be in the form of just, overall subcontracting, et cetera. But you have to be able to open up the possibilities to becoming a prime by first gaining that experience. And the only way to do that is to not only sub up front by partnering, but most importantly, get that past performance so that way you can eventually get that certification, because the more revenue that you're able to show and the financial stability, that helps you to become certified. Last but not least, once you obtain the certification, brand the heck out of it. Make sure you have it on your website, your email signatures, your business cards, all of your marketing materials. You should be a walking label. I even have like a little, which I didn't have today, which is ironic, like a little nameplate, and it has all of our certs below it. So at a very minimum, when you meet me, you're gonna know it. If you don't see I'm a black woman already, but you're gonna know that my company is certified in those different areas. And so literally, you are that brand, and I almost attribute it to almost like a realtor in a sense, where you see their face, plastered everywhere. You are the brand for your company, and so you have to, at every opportunity, really market your company and the brand of your company, so that way people can associate. Oh, I need a hub zone. Guess what? I remember LaKeshia Grant. I remember her. She had a hub. She's a hub zone. So you have to make sure that you're consistently marketing yourself, not only out in the public, but even within the different certification affinity groups, and marketing groups, like I mentioned earlier.
Awesome. If you all have questions, you can feel free to come up to the mic as you have them, so that we can open up the floor as well. One of the questions that I wanted to throw your way, Natalia, was because I know LaKeshia mentioned the importance of having good, financials and knowing your financial position. So I'm just curious, are there some special requirements or anything that the SBA requires as a part of your 8A certification around accounting or record keeping, documentation, things like that?
Well, we do have, reviews every year, at the end of every year of our 8A companies, and they have to provide us with their financials and where they're at. And they also have, for us to be able to help them better, sometimes we've had companies in the 8A program who didn't get a contract, or had been an 8A for 5 years and haven't gotten a contract. And so we look at that and see, why is that happening? And so we also, what we do, we supervise all the government contracting for all the agencies and departments of the government, because they have to report back to us what if they met their goals. Each agency and department puts a goal, like for example, the DOE wants to 25% or 30. The FBI did 48%. Some things like that. That they have certain goals to meet, and we work with them to make sure that they know about our 8A companies. And some of our 8A companies haven't been as aggressive as LaKeshia. And we can't. The 8A program is not about we're going to come and give you contracts. You actually have to work for them. You have an advantage because you're part of the program, but you have to work twice. We have to work hard to get those contracts. So there's a list of reviews that we do for our 8A clients.
Okay.
Let me add to the tips that LaKeshia already gave. One more, definitely. One already mentioned is work with someone, with an organization, but take advantage of the services that, in the case of MBE and MBE Certification, has. Once you are starting the application, you have an MBE officer designed to you, is assigned to you. So that way, that person, from the government perspective, is going to guide you through the process. That is something that I always try to do with my my business owners in the chamber, is to go through the process with the MBE officer. It is clarity, transparency during the process, and it helps a lot because of the updates of the programs as well. The other thing that I would like to highlight is that they have online workshops. It is just you, the tranquility of your office, of your home. You have the opportunity to go online and search those videos and those trainings that allow you to get prepared for that workshop in person. For instance, next workshop is going to be July the 1st, and the next one is August the 1st. It's almost monthly, and they have that is 10 in the morning in Hanover, Maryland. So they have this on constant basis that will allow you to see that it's not send the application and good luck, right? It's a process.
And honestly, I've lived and worked in countries across the world. No one has more resources and free resources than the U.S. It's unbelievable. And what surprises me is that people don't take advantage of it. When I was appointed, everyone kept telling me SBA was the best kept secret. And actually it helped, the SCORE chapter counselors helped me with my second business. And I thought I knew everything, of course. But it was amazing the amount of help that we can get. And just I encourage for people to really take advantage of the resources that we have.
Absolutely, because as taxpayers, we're paying for these resources, so it would make sense that we as business owners do position ourselves to leverage the great resources that are made available to us. So again, if you have questions, feel free to come to the mic and we can field those questions for you. Let's see. Daniel, MDOT, because we haven't talked anything about MDOT. We've heard about all these other certifications and organizations. How does MDOT, well, first of all, what is MDOT? And then how does MDOT determine which businesses can participate in their programs?
Kelly, that's a great question, because MDOT is Maryland Department of Transportation. And the first thing that you start thinking is, why Department of Transportation with certifications and business owners and so on? I think the answer is in the three entities that review and apply the certification, and they are the highest contractors in the state. It's Maryland State Highway. It is the Department of Maryland Aviation Administration and the Maryland Transit Administration, MTA. So with just those three, can you imagine the opportunities you have? And it makes sense, additionally, is because instead of creating another entity within these three entities coordinated, you have a pool of contracts that gives you the opportunity to get, not as individuals, as small business owners in general, billions of dollars in contracts through the years. So that makes sense. That's Maryland Department of Transportation. The second part of that, they have a specific office in the MDOT that is the Office of Business Enterprise. It's Office on Minority Business Enterprise. And honestly, making business with government, this is very friendly place to go and to ask questions, and they set scheduled meetings with you, with your different levels, with your different stages. Excuse me. They have the individuality of your business, because I think this is key to mention. It is not cookie cutter. Okay, you are printing company. Okay, you are fashion company. No, it is not cookie cutter. It is your individuality as a business owner as well. And I would like to share that Yes, I joke about the size of the documents that you need, but it gives you transparency on that once you are certified, you have a LaKeshia. It is a person of success.
Right.
It is ready for the next challenge. And to the point that LaKeshia has here a list, I'm always paying attention to that, a list of certification. I think you have 2 pages. But the thing is, the thing is that you understand as a business owner that once you are certified in one, you have the advantage to get the other that will allow you to compile and get the business moving. So.
Awesome.
And just to add, you can always marry a service disabled vet. Women-owned, women-owned, and all the others as well. Just FYI.
Now, LaKeshia,
That's a different strategy, but you know.
now, and you do have a ton of, you have probably every certification that you can have. So one would think that, oh, wow, she must have this huge company, this huge infrastructure. So tell us more about, you know, the size of your company and all that, because I think a lot of people in the room, you may have someone who, you know, maybe they're a solo entrepreneur. They're the ones that are delivering and doing everything. Then you may have a company that's got 5 or fewer employees. And so can you sort of share with us the evolution of your company, if you will?
Sure. Like I mentioned before, in the 2 years, it was just myself and my assistant. I was out as a 1099 independent contractor for a large systems integrator for the first 2 years, and I realized that I'm not necessarily a 9-to-5er. I was never really a 9-to-5er when I started the company beforehand, and it really proved to me when I worked 9 to 5, because when you're a consultant, you're getting paid, you know, top dollar, so they want you to leave at 5 o'clock. They don't want you to stick around and do any additional work, and so I always wanted to continue working. And I realized that it wasn't really cut out for me. And so I'd say about 2 years in, I decided to grow the company. And with that growth, that's when I decided to get the certifications, the additional certifications at that point. And like I said, that pretty much put us on the path for growth. I did spend those 2 years building up our infrastructure as far as pulling together all of our policies from both an operational perspective, human resources. So I had that mentality, if you build it, they will come. That I knew sort of that we were going to go somewhere, but I didn't know necessarily where just yet, but I wanted to be prepared if we did. And throughout that whole certification process, I realized early on that there were some things that I needed to, some gaps that I needed to fill to prepare for the growth. And basically I put together that infrastructure. God bless my assistant who was there with me to help develop those policies and so forth, and literally we just applied what I preached and best practices that I implemented for our clients, and literally we got our first 8A contract probably within the first 6 months of getting our 8A certification, and it was by far it was I think close to $5 million. So we went from a couple $100,000 to several million within a few months. So that really pulled together our infrastructure. We were, skeleton at that point, but that gave us the additional monies to solidify my vision for the infrastructure. And then from there, we've grown. So in the past 3 years, I think the number from Inc. was 2,000. We grew 2,126% in the course of those 3 years. And I can largely attribute that to the SBA certification. So I really am a walking poster child for the SBA. In addition to my staff too, because they have been, they've done a wonderful job as far as doing great project work and supporting our clients. So that way we could continue to grow. But that door opener by far was the certifications. And so that's pretty much been our success story ever since. So.
How many employees do you have?
We're less than 50. I always do that because of the legal guidelines. So,
Sure.
And we fluctuate too, because I'm very trigger happy if you don't perform well. So so you have to be a high performer to work for.
So almost 50
for my
employees.
company. Less than 50.
that is so important. Let me piggyback
Yes.
on that,
It's
because of the different
Told you.
certifications, the combination of the requirements for different certifications.
Right.
That's why LaKeshia is moving those hands like that, because you have to balance to do not lose one because of you are moving to out of the
Right.
requirements of the other one.
Right.
So that shape of the skeleton in terms of growth is so important. That's why I do not suggest that someone that is just starting a business get into the process, because do not have the real vision of where to go. But most importantly is to have that skeleton to support that change of 125% growth without a skeleton disaster.
Right.
I would like to highlight something that I heard in the previous panel, and it is how important the growth in the services field is right now.
Okay.
That is so important. Don't think because you don't have a tangible product, a new gadget that will move the economy to a next level. No, you as a business owner, that you have a service, you have all the opportunities to move up. I will highlight that services, feel free. There's a welcoming package in terms of certification for those services. And the other one is manufacturing. Manufacturing as well, not necessarily creating the new gadget, but manufacturing, it is key in the new economy that is coming to the U.S.
Awesome.
Kelly, can I add one thing?
Absolutely.
You talk about services. So we're an IT services-based company, or in business management-based services company. So I totally agree. I think services are the way to go. I can preach to that. But Inc. magazine in December, January 2013, 2014 said that with respect to growth for small businesses in particular, the two most important things that they have seen to support their growth is hiring innovators and customer service, with customer service being the #1 rated growth indicator for those companies who actually grow, especially in this economy.
Did you know that you can make a donation to support our educational training and community programs when you go shopping online? Through the Good Shopping program, participating stores will make a donation in your name to Montgomery Community Television, Montgomery Community Media. There are over 2,400 participating online retailers. You can make a difference today by registering at goodsearch.com/choose cause. Please enter Montgomery Community Television as your charity when you register. Thank you.
Not such a long time ago, there was this girl, Valerie, who started her career in the fresh produce industry. 10 years later, she started her own company that exported fresh produce all over the world. Even with all this experience, starting a new company and dealing with so many different aspects of it was quite challenging. Her first right turn was when she accidentally clicked on a mail from California Centers of International Trade Department. One call to them opened up a treasure chest full of contacts and government resources and programs that could help. There was SBA, who pointed her to a very important building in her city. It was the Office of Export Assistance Center. They used their vast network of USA representatives in different markets and provided her with all kinds of information for that market. With all these connections, her exports took off. She worked wisely on advance payments and letters of credit, but eventually the buyers started pressing her for credit. Either there were some very key buyers she could not refuse credit to, or the buyers were becoming regular and wanted credit. In such a competitive market, she had to succumb to survive. That gave her sleepless nights and stress. Once again to the rescue, SBA suggested Ex-Im Bank's credit insurance policy with great easy pay options and rates that gave her some rest. Despite covering all her risks as much as possible, there was a buyer who tried to cheat her, saying the quality of fruits was bad and refused to pay her a huge sum of money. A timely telemarketing call from a debt collection agency gave her another brilliant idea on how to get them to recover her money. She learned an important lesson that day. If you're going to have an open account, you need to have as many backup plans as possible. Like maximize advance payments, order credit reports, get trade and market references, ask a USA representative for information, protect with Ex-Im credit insurance, have debt collectors handy, and succeed. If anyone asked her, she would say there are only two things you need for export once you have a brilliant idea or product: a helping hand and excellent judgment. And without the help of SBA and other government agencies, she couldn't have been this successful this fast. Now she runs a sizable business and she has time for her kids and family. She goes visiting her buyers all around the globe and sometimes works from the beaches of Sicily. She loves being her own boss and is enjoying the fruits of her labor, which is literally, in her case.
Hey, that's my exporting story. Where is your next customer from?
Awesome. And so, Natalia, from your vantage point, because like LaKeshia, like she said, she's sort of the poster child of what it looks like to do 8A right. What are some of the challenges that you've seen from small business owners coming in to the program?
And I mean, just to give you a number, we are at $16.6 billion right now in 8A contracts, just alone. So there are successes, but what I've seen a lot is when people get into the 8A program or get certified, they think that we're going to come to them, that the government's going to come to them. They have to be a lot more aggressive. They have to, like she said, brand yourself, network, get out there and talk to people. I have a pile of business cards, and I give them all the time. I mean, they're for free. And I cannot believe only 10% of the people follow up with me. Wow. And I'm on my BlackBerry 24/7. Wow. So I will go ahead and recommend you and connect you and put you in touch with all my amazing teams that I have all over my region. But it's amazing how people don't follow up. And so I've seen not enough aggressiveness, I think. And as a business owner myself, I was out there all the time, talking left and right. Also, I think that what another issue too is, we're trying to be as efficient as we can in government. We have actually, believe it or not, moved in the 21st century, and everything is online. All the forms are online. We're able to do all this, use technology. So we have managed to get that paperwork down more recently with this administration, and so. Folks are still thinking that it's hard and it's difficult, bureaucratic, and so Danielle said it's easier now. It's much easier, and I can't I guess with the president really pushing for us to be a lot more innovative, that's been a key part of our task.
So now, in terms of when you say follow-up or lack of follow-up, these are companies that are in the program that aren't following, or these are people that you meet that have interest in? Gotcha.
Okay. And people on the program as well, but people I meet all the time. I meet small businesses every day.
Right.
So there's opportunity there for following up and networking.
Right. Absolutely. So questions, if anyone has a question, feel free to be brave and step to the microphone. We will be happy to field any question that you may have. But let's just keep moving here. In terms of, LaKeshia, what have you seen? Because I see you as being a great role model or mentor. And I know, Natalia, you mentioned this mentor protege program. What's that all about?
So we have a mentor protege program, which is a subset of the 8A program. And which, some of our, for example, program companies that have graduated out of an 8A program, we're expect for them to be part of our mentor programs. Just like they had help from mentors to grow, we expect for them to come back. And it's a good thing for them because they have gotten out of the stage of the 8A. They're like 500 employees making hundreds of millions of dollars. Well, they still want to get government contracts. Then they had to partner with an existing 8A company to be able to match that 23% of their government contracting, which has to go to small business.
Okay.
So that's our mentor program.
And so what does graduation look like? What exactly does that mean? Because we hear that a lot. Sure. Is it like financially based, or is it the company's size in terms of employees? 9 years.
After 9 years.
Okay. So
yes.
Regardless of where they are from a revenue?
No. You have to, if you're starting to be larger than certain numbers, we expect you to get out. We'll graduate you.
Okay.
In terms of MBE and DBE, graduation means that you are defined to be removed from the certification because you achieved your goals. That is the definition in the MBE certification, based on size.
And based on ownership.
Exactly, size, ownership, and average sales during 3 years. So, and it has to do with employment as well. So, the idea of that behind the scenes is definitely that you have the opportunity to give space for new companies to move toward the program. And that's part, I haven't talked to LaKeshia before, but that's part of achieving new certifications. Of course, you have to balance that, but then it allows you to keep in business, and moving different certification is helping you.
Okay. And so in terms of if you had to give, each of you, if you had to give your guidance, and Natalia, you may be a little bit biased because SBA and 8A and all that good stuff, and if you had to give advice to someone who's here, they're a new sort of startup business, maybe less than 2 years, 1 to 2 years old, and they are pursuing certification, what would you say would be your guidance in terms of the hierarchy, the different programs that they should consider in their business right now?
Well, less than 2 years, I mean, I recommend for you to do a strategic plan or business plan, look at working on doing focus groups, marketing, which the small business development centers help you with, the women business centers help you with, and start really doing your homework, and like LaKeshia said, create that structure where it's going to help you, be able to get to your final your vision and your goals. Less than 2 years, I mean, as a startup, 1 out of 8 companies fail or succeed. So it's tough to run a business and to start a business. Not an easy task. I mean, you're 24/7. Your blood, sweat, and tears go into your business. It's your baby. So you better, be prepared to fail as well as and be able to get back up, and keep fighting, because it's not easy at all to start a business. So make sure that you have those business plans. Make sure that you have counseling and help. And my mom always said, "Con una luz nadie se pierde." So a little bit of light, you find your way. So, I'm a testament to this. I was so stubborn. I had every degree possible. Why would I need to do a business plan? And it was such an eye-opening in every way. So.
Well, I agree wholeheartedly with everything Natalia said, but I also would like to add to hire an intern, a student intern, someone who is, I prefer to develop the intern, so I normally start about a sophomore, junior year. At a local intern at a local university, and that's largely to help you become the additional hands. And because they're younger, they have a different perspective as to how to reach and market and so forth. What I did early on also was I invested in the summer youth programs. For DC, we had the DC Summer Youth Program, the STEP program, in which we are an active participant in. And it's totally free, in which you have those interns, and these are students high school students to college students, who are available and accessible for free during the summers. So take advantage of additional workforce development programs that will provide you with apprenticeships, and folks who can provide you with free labor and free assistance as you start to develop. Not only will they become more of your valued employees eventually once they graduate, and you may be in a position to actually hire them after their time, but to have a second pair of eyes in a different perspective other than your own voice really makes a difference. So I would add that as far as, like I said, most important in the business plan and so forth. Definitely counseling, SCORE counseling in particular too. But like I said, the additional hands will help you as far as executing that vision early on.
And if I may say, this is a program I've been fighting for. I think it's really smart. It's called Emerging Leaders, and we just finally got one in DC. But because you're here in Montgomery County, you also can do Baltimore. So Baltimore and DC have the Emerging Leaders. It's like a mini MBA, 7 months. And if you're 1 to 3 years in business, that is 1 to 3 years, have been a little bit successful, this is for free, and you apply, and it's just like an MBA, and we have 1 cohort a year.
Beautiful.
So there's also, I'm not sure if DC doesn't have it yet, but the Goldman Sachs 10,000 business.
Yes.
That's another one that we have in Philadelphia.
There
we go.
Yeah.
And so there's programs out there like that can help you, like a mini MBA to help you move forward.
And I mentioned one more too. Ernst & Young
Ernst & Young
also has one for women.
Yeah.
Of course, I'm going to recommend Hispanic Chamber of Commerce Montgomery County. But,
Of course.
but the point is that I agree with you totally. But the other part has to do with within that business plan and marketing plan, you have to establish short-term, mid-term, and long-term goals. So even though you are within your first year, if you have that plan reviewed, it's not written on stone, right? When you have that in terms of moving forward, since the first year, you can start looking for that certification in terms of your preparedness. It is so important. Well, I do something with my with the persons that I have, with the business owners in one-on-one consulting, is go through the list of what is required to obtain the certification. Because even though you are not ready to present the financials of the past 3 years, you know that you need to have them and not wait until the third year to see who is going to help with that shoebox.
Right. And with that, I want to thank each and every one of you for participating, and thank you, panelists, Natalia, LaKeshia, Daniel, thank you so much for joining us today. I know I walked away with a lot of great new nuggets, and so looking forward to applying it in our respective businesses. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Turning a 20-foot wall into a canvas takes vision. So will getting into college. I've got what it takes. So do you.